Good day, everybody. Thanks for joining me. The other day we were out at the wrecking yard and we were testing some seats and making sure that they were going to work. Ironically, it's a good thing we did have a test rig because it turned out I couldn't get them because one of the motors were cratered in it. But I had some requests for a little more detail on how I put this together. And this version's very simple. It has its drawbacks. It's just a couple connectors. Well, should be flat spades, but I'm out of those. So a little ring terminal and just a little squeeze, it fits and it's good enough. And then a couple alligator clips. And you notice I have them staggered. That's to kind of a little bit of safety so they don't sit in there or aren't hitting each other as you're moving stuff around. You do have to be real careful because they can still touch. And if they do dead short, you'll damage your battery, potentially blow it up, catch a fire, the things you don't want. These are marked positive and negative. When you're testing like electric motors for window motors or seat motors, the polarity doesn't really matter for stuff like that. When you're testing LEDs and other circuits, it definitely does. So again, these are staggered because there is voltage here. A rig like this works great in the field. It also, it's handy in the garage. With this little power antenna, it does work, right? And I mean, that's out. And if you want to go in, right, you just reverse the polarity. Now, doing things like testing LED lights and stuff like that. So you can see that doesn't want to turn on. Well, that is because that's LED. LED will only accept power the one direction. So reverse the polarity, and you see how it's it's kind of fumbling around in a pain, because it's live all the time. So that leg makes it the white light, and of course, and there you go. There's an arc, not intentional, but there is the signal light. So now this works, but it's not ideal. Let me show you a better way to do the same thing. Toss that off to the side. So we're using, this is the whole kit together here. Oop. So using a double pull, double throw momentary switch. And so I'll go into what a momentary switch is. You see it's up, it auto returns. This is a non-momentary. That's a simple on-off. So if you're going to build one of these, you want a momentary because you don't want to be hooking up to a device and having it deadhead against its stops and having it sit with power on. Now this is basically the same as a window switch. Very similar. The benefits to this, of course, you can have your leads on. You can plug your power in exactly the same, and there is no continuity, right? There's no danger here at all. So then you can be a little more controlled as to what you're doing. You can clip that on and clip that on, and now you activate it with the switch, right? And you can test both directions off one connection and nothing's arcing. This rig is something I've had in the garage for quite a while. I used it for testing these seats I was doing. And of course, with this, you can see I have different connectors. So now I've got a positive in. I've also got another lead here that clips right onto a battery. But for this, for flexibility, unplug it. Pick the piece off the ground. These connectors, while I was building the white truck, the BMW seats, they had, in order to test everything in those, they had very small connectors. So this lead is specifically for that. So then all you do is just plug it in, and same again. I mean, you can activate the seat functions and whatnot. It's very simple. I mean, really, this is made out of some shrink tube and some extra wire. The trick is in the wiring of the switch. All right, so let's take a look at a normal switch. This is just simple on and off. Very, very simple. Whatever your circuit, if it's a positive or negative, either way, you can run your feed in, and this is your out to your item or device, right? Generally, your center leg is the in, and your outer legs will be your out. So this is a single throw, single pull. So single pull in, switch. So you'll see abbreviations. It'll be like STSP, right? Now this is the same thing, except this is a single pull, dual throw. So we can have power in, and let's say you have a left spotlight on the side of your pickup. And then you have one on your right. You want to flip one on, you'd flip it one way, and you'd flip the one on, and you flip it the other way, you'd flip the other one on. Very simple. And again, not a momentary. It clicks and stays on. You could use one of these, but the problem with it is when you flip it on, you'd have to watch, and it'll deadhead and then create heat, right? And potentially a short. So this here is the same thing. This is just a spade version of that one. This is basically two of these together, okay? So this, if you tape the two of them together, this would be a dual pull, dual throw. So you have two pulls in, and it can go either side. This is that version all in one switch. So the way this is wired, to explain it is far more complex. It's harder to explain a little bit. Well, so I'll do my best. So center leg is my positive and negative in to the center pole. When I connect over here, of course, there's a little leg that goes down, makes continuity on this side and this side, bridges the power from here to here and here to here, but still remains divided and separate. So when you switch the one direction, you get continuity coming out of this to make in the antenna example, to make it go up. Now, to reverse polarity, this is where it gets kind of silly. So we can see these cross over. So this is where it can get a little confusing. When in this little bit of wiring, this is the out leg here. So the colors of this wire, they could be purple, it don't matter, because the polarity on the two wires depends on which direction and which side you're activating, okay? So these poles out are always going to show when they're active, whatever this leg is. So this is black. This one, if this is negative here, this will be negative. This will always be negative, okay? And same vice versa. The bottom one, if that's positive, that'll always be positive. That'll always be positive when it's active, okay? When you activate and send the connection over here, this side is dead. So it has there's no continuity. It's basically just a dummy terminal. So you can see this red goes over to the black leg, and this black comes over to the red leg, okay? So when I activate that, this is now jumping over this way, which let's say this is the negative coming over, goes out the positive leg. This side would be positive and going out the negative side. It's probably better to just say side A and side B. So by jumpering those, you'll get the polarity reversed on your output. I don't know if I explained that very well. I'll show it again. It's probably the best way to show is using this LED. So LED lights, like I said before, will only take and illuminate when the polarity is correct. Okay. So we're going to put that on. Hold this. So the one direction, it lights. The other direction it doesn't, because all it is the polarity is reversed, okay, on the output leg by using that jumper circuit. So I hope that's semi-clear. And one more thing with this little setup. This is pretty much all made from extra junk I had in my garage. I have to remember this switch. I harvested out of a wrecked truck, and then just scrap wire. You can see I shrink tube everything because I don't like shorts and uncontrollable sparks. But really, the cost of this rig, I think these switches are like $20, and then like I harvested the clips off of an old set of test leads and some Deutsch connectors. Really, like if there's $30 here, I'd be surprised. And I've used this now actually to test other circuits in vehicles I've built and confirm continuity. And you know, when you're building a harness and the cab's off the truck, but your outside harness is all done, and you want to test the horn, you want to test the lights, you want to test all that stuff before you tuck your harness. Well, I'll tell you, this is bloody awesome for that too. So pretty handy. Again, thank you very much for watching. Hit the like and subscribe. Share with your share with that buddy that's always like electrocuting things and burning up wires and blowing fuses. So have a great day.